They thought the new black girl was weak. They laughed at her clothes and shoved her in front of everyone. But what they did not know was that she had been training her whole life. And when the bullies pushed too far, they picked the wrong girl. Because she was not just strong, she was a fighter. The sun rises over the quiet suburban town, and the high school gates swing open as students gather in clusters. Groups of friends laugh together, some nervous freshmen walk quickly to class, and in the middle of all this energy walks a new face. She is tall, she is strong, and she carries herself with a kind of silent confidence that makes people notice. Her name is Amara, and she just moved here from another state to live with her aunt. She is the new girl, and everyone can feel it as she walks through the hallways with her backpack over one shoulder and her eyes scanning the unfamiliar territory. High school is never easy for someone new, and the groups of students that rule the hallways can sense fresh blood. Among them stands a group of notorious bullies led by a girl named Brianna. Brianna is loud, arrogant, and always surrounded by her friends who follow her lead without question. They laugh too loudly at her jokes, and they glare at anyone who dares to challenge her authority. Brianna has never faced anyone who could stand against her, and she enjoys that power. Amara makes her way to her first class, but she can already feel the stares. Some are curious, some are judgmental, and some are waiting for her to make a mistake. During lunch, the cafeteria is filled with noise and energy. Amara sits alone at a corner table, quietly eating and observing the different groups. She has always been able to read people, and she notices right away who controls the room and who hides in the shadows. Her eyes land on Brianna and her crew who strut through the cafeteria like they own it. When Brianna notices Amara sitting alone, she smirks, towering slightly over Brianna. She speaks in a low, steady voice, telling Brianna to step back and leave her alone. The way she says it is not angry, but powerful, and Brianna's friends shift uncomfortably. But Brianna laughs it off and shoves Amara hard in the shoulder, thinking she has won. What Brianna does not know is that Amara has been training in martial arts for years. She learned discipline, strength, and self-control from her father, who was a military veteran. Amara has fought in tournaments and knows exactly how to handle herself. When Brianna shoves her again, Amara moves with lightning speed. She grabs Brianna's wrist, twists it just enough to make her yelp, and then lets go. The crowd gasps, and Brianna stumbles back with wide eyes. Her friends rush forward, but Amara drops into a ready stance, her body balanced, her fists clenched, and her eyes sharp. The bullies freeze because they realize she is not an ordinary girl. Amara warns them once more with a calm voice, telling them not to push her again. There is silence in the cafeteria before the teachers rush in, breaking up the tension and ordering everyone back to their seats. That night, the story spreads across the school like wildfire. Everyone is talking about the new girl who stood up to Brianna and made her look weak in front of the whole cafeteria. Some admire her courage, some fear her power, and others feel inspired by her confidence. Amara sits in her room, quietly doing homework, but she knows this is only the beginning. Bullies never back down easily, and she can already sense that Brianna and her crew will come after her again. But Amara is ready because she has faced tougher battles in her life, and she knows her strength is not only in her fists, but in her spirit. The next day, she walks into school again with her head high. Whispers follow her through the hallways, and students step aside as she passes. Some nod at her with respect, others avoid her gaze. But Brianna is waiting by the lockers with her friends' anger burning in her eyes. She cannot accept being humiliated in front of everyone, and she has a plan to strike back harder than before. When Amara approaches her locker, Brianna blocks her path with folded arms and a smirk that hides her frustration. She challenges Amara in front of everyone, calling her out and daring her to meet behind the gym after school. The crowd cheers because high school thrives on spectacle, and the promise of fight is the most exciting thing they can imagine. Amara sighs quietly, but she agrees, not because she wants to fight, but because she knows standing down will only encourage them. Behind the gym later that day, a large group gathers waiting for the showdown. The bullies grin with confidence, thinking their numbers will overwhelm Amara. But Amara steps into the circle with calm, steady breaths and eyes sharp as steel. The circle behind the gym grows larger as more students gather their phones ready to record every second. Brianna stands in the middle, bouncing on her feet, trying to look confident, but her eyes keep darting nervously toward Amara. Her friends whisper encouragement, but their voices shake because deep down they are unsure. Amara steps into the circle, her posture calm and strong, her hands loose at her sides, but her stance ready. The air is thick with anticipation, and even the late afternoon sun seems to pause as the crowd goes silent. Brianna tries to start with words. She mocks Amara's background, her appearance, and her quiet nature. The crowd laughs on command, but their laughter fades quickly as Amara does not respond. She simply stares at Brianna with a patience that unnerves her. Finally, Brianna lunges forward, swinging wildly with no technique and no thought. Amara sidesteps, smoothly grabs her arm, and uses her own momentum to spin her around, pushing her gently to the ground. The crowd gasps louder than before, some even cheer because they have never seen anyone handle Brianna like this. The circle behind the gym grows larger as more students gather their phones ready to record every second. Brianna stands in the middle, bouncing on her feet, trying to look confident, but her eyes keep darting nervously toward Amara. Her friends whisper encouragement, but their voices shake because deep down they are unsure. Amara steps into the circle, her posture calm and strong, her hands loose at her sides, but her stance ready. The air is thick with anticipation, and even the late afternoon sun seems to pause as the crowd goes silent. Brianna tries to start with words. She mocks Amara's background, her appearance, and her quiet nature. The crowd laughs on command, but their laughter fades quickly as Amara does not respond. She simply stares at Brianna with a patience that unnerves her. Finally, Brianna lunges forward, swinging wildly with no technique and no thought. Amara sidesteps, smoothly grabs her arm, and uses her own momentum to spin her around, pushing her gently to the ground. The crowd gasps louder than before, some even cheer because they have never seen anyone handle Brianna like this. Brianna scrambles up, furious, and charges again, this time with both hands reaching for Amara's hair. But Amara blocks her with a forearm, shifts her weight, and plants her firmly on the ground again. This time she does not release. Immediately, she pins Brianna's arm, just enough to make her feel the power without causing damage. Her voice is calm as she tells Brianna to stop, because this is pointless. The crowd begins to murmur, some calling out for Brianna to give up, others urging her to keep going because they want more drama. Brianna shakes free, embarrassed and desperate. She signals to her friends. Two of them step forward, ready to swarm Amara together. But Amara does not flinch. She adjusts her stance, lowers her center of gravity, and prepares. The first girl rushes with a sloppy punch, and Amara catches her wrist, spins, and sends her stumbling aside. The second swings from behind, but Amara ducks low and sweeps her leg out, taking the girl down onto the dirt. The crowd erupts with cheers, now fully on Amara's side, impressed by her skill and control. Phones capture every moment, and within minutes this fight will be all over social media. Brianna realizes she is losing not just the fight, but her reputation, her control, and her power over the school. Her pride is shattered, yet she refuses to back down. She grabs a stick from the ground and waves it like a weapon. The crowd gasps, some shouting that she's going too far. Amara does not panic. She watches Brianna's movements carefully. When Brianna swings, Amara steps inside the arc of the swing, disarms her with a swift motion, and snaps the stick in half with her bare hands. The sound echoes across the yard, silencing everyone. Amara drops the broken pieces on the ground and says firmly that this ends now. Brianna collapses to her knees, tears of rage and humiliation burning in her eyes. Her friends hover, uncertain, afraid to help her and afraid to face Amara again. The crowd begins to cheer for Amara, chanting her name as though she has already become a legend in their school. Teachers finally arrive, pushing through the students, but they have already seen enough to know what happened. Amara does not resist when they escort her to the office, her head still held high, her spirit unshaken. Inside the principal's office, she sits quietly while Brianna and her friends try to twist the story. They claim Amara started it, that she attacked them without reason. But witnesses pour in students who saw everything, and even videos begin to surface showing the truth. The principal watches the clips with wide eyes and then turns to Brianna with disappointment. For years, the school has struggled to keep her behavior under control, and now she has been exposed publicly. Amara is given only a warning, told that fighting is against the rules, but the principal also admits privately that she showed restraint and courage. News spreads through the hallways faster than wildfire. By the next morning, Amara is no longer just a new girl. She is the girl who stood up to the queen of bullies and won. Students approach her with smiles, some offering friendship, some asking questions about how she learned to fight. She does not brag. She simply says she has trained for years and believes in standing up for herself and for others. Her humility only makes her more respected, and soon she begins to build a circle of real friends, people who admire her strength of character. Meanwhile, Brianna hides from the spotlight. Her friends no longer follow her as eagerly, their loyalty shaken by how quickly Amara exposed her weakness. Whispers spread that Brianna may transfer schools because she cannot handle the shame. Amara does not celebrate her downfall. She knows victory is not in destroying others, but in protecting herself and showing courage. Still, she cannot deny the satisfaction of knowing she ended the reign of someone who thrived on cruelty. As weeks pass, Amara settles into her new life at the school. She joins a sports team, impressing the coach with her discipline and stamina. She also starts tutoring younger students who struggle with confidence, teaching them simple self-defense moves and encouraging words. Her reputation grows beyond the fight. She becomes known not only as the girl who stood up to bullies, but as someone who lifts others up. Her presence changes the atmosphere of the school, making it harder for bullies to thrive because people now know they can resist. One afternoon, a younger student approaches her nervously. He admits that Brianna used to pick on him every day, taking his lunch and humiliating him in front of others. He thanks Amara with genuine relief, saying that since the fight, no one dares to bother him anymore. Amara smiles and tells him that the true strength is not in fists or kicks, but in the courage to stand tall and believe in yourself. The boy nods with new determination in his eyes, and Amara feels proud that her actions have inspired someone. But deep down, Amara knows the journey is not over. There will always be challenges. There will always be people who try to dominate through fear. What matters is how one responds, and she is ready for whatever comes next. She walks home that day with the setting sun painting the sky orange and gold, her backpack bouncing lightly on her shoulder. She feels at peace with herself, proud of what she has endured and aware of the respect she has earned. Winter approaches, and the schoolyard grows colder with bare trees and frosted windows, yet the energy inside remains strong. Amara has found her rhythm. She walks through the halls no longer the outsider, but someone who belongs. Students greet her with respect, and even teachers notice the calm maturity she carries with her. But the shadows of conflict are never far, and Brianna, though humiliated, has not completely disappeared. One morning, Amara finds a note slipped into her locker. It is written with shaky letters, threatening her and warning that she has not seen the last of Brianna. Amara reads it without fear and quietly folds it away. She knows anger still lingers in the hearts of those who cannot accept defeat. Instead of worrying, she focuses on her routine, waking early every day, training in the backyard of her aunt's house, practicing strikes, kicks, and breathing techniques. Discipline is her shield, and preparation is her weapon. At school, Brianna tries to rebuild her circle, but the cracks are clear. Her voice no longer holds power, and her friends are hesitant to follow. Frustration eats at her pride, and she begins spreading lies about Amara, claiming she is violent, dangerous, and unstable. But every attempt fails because the truth of what students witnessed cannot be erased. Amara continues to show kindness, helping classmates, sharing her knowledge, and building a quiet reputation as someone to trust. The more Brianna tries to tear her down, the stronger Amara's light shines. One afternoon, the tension reaches a breaking point. Brianna confronts Amara in the library, a place usually filled with silence and focus. She accuses Amara of ruining her life, of stealing her place, and making her look weak. The words pour out like poison, but Amara remains steady. She closes her book stands and looks Brianna in the eyes. She tells her that respect is not taken by force, it is earned through actions. The room is still, the students nearby, listening closely. Amara continues, saying that cruelty only creates fear, and fear eventually crumbles, while strength built on discipline will last forever. For a moment, Brianna has no words. Her anger cannot fight against the truth spoken with such calm conviction. She storms away, her footsteps echoing across the wooden floor, and students murmur at what they have witnessed. Amara sits back down and opens her book again as though nothing happened, but inside she feels a shift. She knows the war is ending, not because she destroyed Brianna, but because Brianna is destroying herself with bitterness. The school year rolls on with new challenges, exams, assignments, sports events. Amara thrives. She joins the debate team, surprising everyone with her articulate voice and sharp reasoning. Her discipline from martial arts carries into everything she does, and soon she is seen not just as the fighter, but as a leader. Younger students continue to approach her, asking advice, asking for guidance. She teaches them small lessons about standing tall, about breathing deep, about controlling fear. Her message spreads quietly like seeds planted in soil, and the school begins to change. Even teachers notice a drop in bullying incidents. Students walk with more confidence, shoulders squared, voices stronger. It is as if Amara's presence has unlocked something in everyone, showing them they do not have to be victims. The cafeteria, once ruled by Brianna's arrogance, now feels lighter, filled with real laughter and friendship. Amara still sits at her table, but now she is never alone. Friends gather around her with smiles and easy conversation. She has built a family out of strangers, and it fills her with warmth she never expected. One day her aunt sits her down at home and tells her she has seen the changes too. She says she is proud of how Amara has carried herself with dignity and honor. Amara listens quietly, but inside she feels a glow of pride, not just for herself, but for her father's teachings that live on through her. She remembers the long nights of training, the bruises, the sweat, the discipline, and now she sees the purpose. It was never just about fighting, it was about becoming strong enough to protect herself and others without fear. The story of the girl who stood up to bullies continues to echo even beyond the school. Videos of her fight have spread online, viewed thousands of times, shared with captions about bravery and strength. Messages flood in from students at other schools, saying she inspired them to stand up against their own bullies. Amara reads them with humility, always reminding herself that strength must be used with wisdom. She never seeks fame, but she knows her story has become bigger than her, and she carries that responsibility carefully. As spring returns and flowers bloom around the campus, the school holds a talent showcase. Students perform dances, songs, and poems, and Amara surprises everyone by demonstrating a martial arts kata. She moves with precision and grace, each strike and stance a piece of art. The crowd watches in silence, then erupts with applause, not because she fought, but because she showed the beauty of discipline. Even Brianna sits in the audience, unable to deny the power of what she sees, her expression a mixture of regret and awe. After the showcase, Brianna approaches Amara slowly, her usual arrogance gone. She hesitates, then admits softly that she envies Amara's strength. She confesses that she acted out of fear of being ignored, fear of losing control, fear of being invisible. Amara listens, and for the first time, she sees the human behind the bully. She tells Brianna that fear can either destroy or transform, and it is up to her to choose. Brianna nods silently and walks away, not fully changed, but with a seed of reflection planted inside her heart. The school year ends with Amara walking across the stage to receive awards, not just for academics and athletics, but also for leadership. Students cheer for her, teachers smile proudly, and her aunt claps with tears in her eyes. Amara stands tall, her heart steady, knowing that she has become more than the new girl, more than the fighter. She has become a symbol of courage and resilience, a reminder that even in the face of cruelty, one person's strength can ignite change. As she steps off the stage, the sun sets outside, painting the sky with colors of gold and fire. She walks out of the auditorium with her friends' laughter in her ears and peace in her heart. She knows the battles of life will never end, but she also knows she will always be ready. Because she is Amara, the girl who faced the bullies, the girl who fought with discipline and heart, the girl who transformed fear into respect. And her story is only just beginning.